Hey, good morning, everybody. Well, the weather is not frightful. It is beautiful, overcast and rainy, but I am thrilled to be in my woods during the spring. It's just absolutely perfect. Let me give you a quick look-see at my woods. It's my house. It's a pretty awesome place to live. It keeps me very calm, which is the topic. There we go. Which is the topic of today's live stream. It's about staying calm when the people around you are acting crazy and attacking you and being, vicious and awful. So, if you don't know who I am, I'm Rita Hickman. I'm a body-mind expert. I'm a shiatsu massage therapist, which is awesome. And my specialty is coaching women and helping women who are in toxic and narcissistic relationships. I help them figure out the real-world tools that actually work. The things that keep them calm, the things that help them find their voice and move forward. It's not all, head games. It's not all of that stuff. A lot of growth and healing and moving forward has to do with the body and the nervous system and the body-mind and the cells and the gut and the heart and all of that. It's very, very cool stuff, and that's my specialty. So last night, we had an amazing roundtable with these really beautiful women from all over the world. Shona was in Great Britain, I think. She's moved around a number of times. She started her life out in South Africa. Just a super cool woman. And then we had Tara over in Australia. And then we had Patty, who's the hemp and CBD and self-defense expert. And we had Jane, who's the astrologer and codependency and flower essence expert. We had me. I'm trying to think if I have everybody. I think I do. Anyways, it was wonderful. We're all experts on narcissism using our specific tools, our specific healing tools that we have. We ended up in difficult times in our life and had to sort our way out by ourselves for the most part. And really evolved into these beautiful healers that work with women around the world. So one of the questions that we answered last night is, what are some tools that help to manage your stress so that you can respond to an attack, a verbal attack, a narcissist attack, a toxic person attack, so you can respond instead of react? Because we all know that one of the biggest problems is not that we don't know any better. We've got plenty of information. We've got plenty of blogs. We've got plenty of articles. We've got, middle-aged white men telling women how to manage their finances. We've got mansplaining. We've got, people who have the next big thing and the magic pill and all of that. There's so much information out there, but we don't have practical tools for application. We don't have how do you take these things and actually make them work in your life. So it's not about how smart you are, how much information you have. It's about whether your body hijacks you or not when you need it to stay sane, when you need it to not go crazy. Because when someone attacks, it's totally natural and normal and expected that part of you is going to go into fight, flight, freeze, or faint. As Shona said last night, it's fight, flight, flop, or friend, which are actually awesome interpretations too. Friend tends to be the people pleaser, tends to be where we try to make nice when we're freaked out, so everybody, will get along and we can get out of danger quickly. So there are all these ways that our nervous system kicks into action and betrays us when we need it most. And most of us are really great at putting our game face on, but it's very hard to fight our body, to fight our nervous system reactions, and to fight that swell of adrenaline or that swell of cortisol that comes into our body. It's hard to fight that. It's very physical. You can think as many nice thoughts as you want, but it's not, it's kind of an uphill battle. So you have to start on the physical level because that's, pretty strong. So some of the wonderful suggestions that really came out of last night's roundtable, and you can find it on the Rita Hickman business page. I believe I shared it to my personal page. You can find it on the group Healthy Mindsets. to cope with narcissists. You can look for it there. And one of the main things we all agreed upon was when you're being attacked and you're reacting, what you need to do is leave the situation, period. Find any reason that you can leave the situation until you get yourself back into a good space. Because think about it. When we force ourselves to be in situations which are not in our best interest, which are causing our body to be re-traumatized, causing us to be in the middle of something that we're seriously trying to control, that fight or flight, it as I just said, it re-traumatizes us. It breaks that trust between ourself and ourself. It says, you mean you're going to put me into this situation again? You're once again going to ignore my needs and what's important to me again? Really, you're going to do this? And that fight or flight response will get stronger and stronger because now your body can't even trust you to protect itself. You know, we're not kids anymore, and unfortunately, most of us, when we were kids, we didn't get that safety and security and grounding. We didn't get what we needed to feel safe in the world. We didn't get someone holding a container for us that said, you know what, you can make some mistakes. It's okay, and we'll figure it out together. Most of us didn't get that. So now as adults, because we're adults, people aren't going to do that for us now unless it's a therapist, and even then, there's lines. We have got to learn how to parent ourselves. We've got to learn how to protect ourselves and find other people that will help us. So some of the best tools that came out of last night were, one, compassion. Recognize that you are struggling, that you are being triggered too, and get yourself out of the situation until you are in a good space. And use your little spidey senses to know when something is uncomfortable or dangerous and avoid it. You know, I read this great article, and it was on a woman who'd survived domestic violence and had gone on to create a really good relationship after she got the help and support that she needed. And she was retelling a story about how she came home and the whole house was destroyed, and her husband had been texting her, you know, about how he was going to get her and where was she. And she got to her house and she called her dad. She said, "Dad, what do I do?" He said, "Call the cops, you silly girl." That's what we need to start doing. We need to start putting our feelings and what matters to us on the front line. Because if we're struggling, if we're screwed up, we're no good to anybody. Being the perfect woman who never has any emotions, who never has any problems, is not going to solve anything. But then again, being in a situation where we give someone else the power to control how we feel, that doesn't help anybody either. So the best thing is to retreat. Have compassion for yourself, compassion for the fact that you're struggling. Do anything like tapping or your herbs or whatever you need to do so that you can get into a good place. And only when you're in a good place do you walk into that situation. So if you're taken off guard, you remove yourself. You have to go to the bathroom. You need to set up a boundary. You put up a hand, as Tara said, you put up a hand close to your body to say stop. You know, and people will respond to that response anyways. They will respond to a stop, as long as it's not like in your face and saying, you know, you're attacking me, which they are, you know, but that just eggs it on. It makes it worse. But stop. I'm not done talking. I need to leave. I'm very uncomfortable, and you get the hell out. Until you can do the things that you need to do to be grounded and stay grounded, because that's the difference. How do you respond instead of react? You do the things you need to do to make sure you can respond, to make sure your body's in a good place, that you've got your friends and support behind you. You know, Patty, who was on the call last night, I love her. She had a very violent first marriage, and she retold a story, not last night, but on other live streams that we've done, where she was at a conference, she was at a fair, and she had a table for all of her self-defense stuff because she's got a women's self-defense business. And she saw in the crowd her ex, the one who had, you know, assaulted her time and time again in order to control her. And it completely freaked her out. But what did she do? She left the situation. She called a friend. She got herself grounded. She did what she needed to do to get back into that level space as much as she needed to be. And then she went back. And when she went back, he was gone. He could recognize that she was no longer the victim, that she would no longer allow him to treat her that way. Now, people who have hope, people who aren't true narcissists, you know, who maybe struggle with mental health or other things, their intentions are actually pretty good. And when you do something a little, strong, like leaving, so that you can protect yourself, it sends a message. It absolutely sends a message. And it takes a few times, but if they want you in their life and they care about you, then they'll start to make those adjustments. And if they don't, they'll go away, because you are no longer the easy victim that loves them and supports them unconditionally no matter what. You do love and support them unconditionally, I'm sure. However, you don't need to do it, within 5 feet. You don't need to do it if they're attacking you or assaulting you in any way. You don't need to do it even if you think you might be. You don't have to allow yourself to be in the place of feeling energetically or emotionally assaulted, even if they're behaving, even if they're not doing anything. You do not have to allow yourself to endure and put up with that. You really, really don't. You have the right to say, you know what, I'm uncomfortable. I'm not willing to put up with this right now. I'm going to gather people around me. I'll call my therapist. I'll call my friends. I'll take my chamomile tea. I'll do the CBD. I'll smoke a little pot if I have to. Do what you got to do. Do what you got to do to get grounded. Because when you do that, then you can walk into the situation and hold your ground, because people have got your back. When you know that you have got friends and people who care and people who are healthy, who have good strategies that will help stay grounded when you need to be grounded. When you've got that going on, when you don't do it alone anymore, that's how you respond instead of react. You give compassion for yourself, you listen to your needs, you love yourself tremendously, and you love the other person. You don't want to turn them into a victimizer. You don't want to make them go to jail. You don't. So don't be the reason they go to jail. Get the hell out of the situation. So how do you avoid it in the first place? You pay attention to how you feel. You listen to how you feel. And if you're uncomfortable, that's when you make a different shift. That's when you grab the kids and you go out for ice cream, or you go to your sister's, or you call your therapist and you have them on the phone, maybe even on speakerphone. You do what you need to do so that you take back your power. You do not have to give up your right to feel safe to anybody else. You do not. And that's the most important tool that you can have to stay grounded instead of reactionary, is that you don't allow yourself to get beaten up anymore. So, anyways, it was a wonderful roundtable. Look for the recording. It was totally worth it. We had so much fun. We had such a good time, and we had so many great conversations and super wonderful insight and wisdom. These women are just awesome. Look for it. Join the Healthy Mindsets to Cope with Narcissists on Facebook. Ask to join, and if you've already joined, ask your friends, because this is a community of people that you can feel safe with, that isn't about anger, that isn't about punishment, that isn't about, it's about supporting one another, even the people with the mental illnesses, which narcissism is. Even people with mental illnesses, supporting and loving them through it too. Doesn't mean that you allow yourself to be victimized. In fact, unconditional love or strong love or bigger love is when you help someone learn in whatever way they need to learn, going to jail or whatever it needs to be, how to have better relationship skills. You give them the opportunity to evolve and grow up as a person. Okay? Cool. So reach out if you need some assistance. We'll direct you to the things that will support you. And most of the women on the call are part of that narcissist group. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, which is Friday. How fabulous. I'll talk to you later. Bye.